Good morning, friends. Miss Luia here. I have another fun book about Maine to read to you today. This book is actually about a place that is very, very close to us. I bet some of you have been to this place before. The book is called The Pride of Perkins Cove. Perkins Cove is in Ogunquit. So Ogunquit is our neighboring town, and Perkins Cove is the little area of Ogunquit where all the boats are docked, and that's where they launch from. Miss Luia works in Perkins Cove in the summer, and her boat that she works on is in this book. So I'll point it out to you when we get to it. The Pride of Perkins Cove. This story is written by Brenda York Goodale, and the art is by Bunny Polson. So the author of this book, Brenda York Goodale, she actually lives in Ogunquit, so she's a local author. The Pride of Perkins Cove. And look at that, she signed the book for me. The summer sun shone through Jack's window. He jumped out of bed, threw on his bright red shirt, and put on his bathing suit. He raced downstairs faster than a hound dog after a rabbit. "Today is my birthday," Jack announced when he saw his parents. And you know what that means. His parents smiled. "We're going to Perkins Cove." Every year on Jack's birthday at Christmas, Jack went to Perkins Cove to visit his grandmother. Jack loved to listen to the stories Nana told year after year. His favorite story was The Fisherman. Jack watched out the car window. When he saw people pushing strollers and carrying chairs on their backs, and when he heard the trolley cart clang, he knew he was in Ogunquit. Jack and his family passed the Perkins Cove sign and turned onto Nana's driveway. There she was, waiting with open arms. Jack hugged his Nana. "Look how you've grown," she said, sizing him up. "Tell me the story, Nana. You know, the one about your grandfather, the fisherman." Jack sat down beside Nana and listened to her story once again. "Once upon a time," began Nana, "many years ago on the coast of Maine, in a harbor called Perkins Cove, an old fisherman sat in the doorway of his fish shack, mending his nets. While he was working, he was thinking about a serious problem in Perkins Cove. The Josias River flowed through the village of Ogunquit and emptied into the cove." So this is Perkins Cove down here, where all the boats are. And some of you might have walked Marginal Way before, and that leads over to Ogunquit Beach. This is the Josias River that flows and it empties right into Perkins Cove and then goes out into the ocean. In the winter, fresh water from the river mixed with salty ocean water, causing it to freeze. One day in the spring, when the ice began to melt, the tide came in and broke the ice into giant pieces. When the tide went out, big chunks of ice destroyed the footbridge that went across the cove's entrance. "What we need is a boat," thought the old fisherman. "One that is made sharp and strong in the front. One that will break up the ice each morning before it gets too thick." The fisherman picked up a log from the ground. He pulled out his pocket knife, and with the aid of his hammer and chisel, he slowly, very slowly, carved himself a fine little boat. So he's trying to solve their problem with the ice. He painted his boat bright red so it could be easily spotted. The fisherman carved a secret compartment inside, a perfect place to put a hidden treasure, perhaps a shell or a pretty piece of sea glass. "If we had a boat like this, only much bigger, we could break the ice up every morning and never have to worry about the bridge being taken out again," he thought. The fisherman talked to the townspeople, who all agreed it would be a perfect solution. The townspeople set to work to build a boat. With any luck, it would be ready by winter. They called their boat the Crusher. The old fisherman was proud of his idea. The town honored him at a special ceremony, giving him a plaque and a shiny brass key to the Crusher. He placed the key in the hidden compartment of the boat he carved and set the boat on the windowsill of his shack. When my granddaughter comes up to visit, I'll give it to her, he thought. But one day, strong winds from the ocean storm blew the boat right off the windowsill, down the rocky beach, and into the rough waves. The fisherman carefully searched along the coast for his lost little boat. This is Nubble Lighthouse. We talked about it yesterday. He scoured through the seaside garden, wishing with all his heart he could find the boat he had worked so hard to make. But he never did. Jack also wondered what could have happened to the boat the fisherman carved. Every year while celebrating Jack's birthday, Jack and his mother and father looked under every dock and dory in Perkins Cove for the fisherman's lost little boat. Maybe we'll find it this year, Nana. Maybe we'll find it this year, Nana, Jack said hopefully. They left Nana's house and walked over the footbridge to the cove. Jack pushed the button to open the bridge and let a boat with a tall tower pass through. So boats with tall towers like that are tuna boats. They go out and catch tuna fish. The first stop they made in the cove was Barnacle Billy's. They sat outside on the deck overlooking the harbor. As Jack ate lobster, Barnacle Billy walked over to their table and told Jack about a huge bluefin tuna that he had helped catch. And Jack told Billy about the fisherman's boat he hoped to find. So that is the bluefin tuna that they catch on the tuna boats. After lunch, Jack and his parents waved goodbye to Billy and walked along the path called the Marginal Way. While they walked, Jack looked behind blueberry bushes for the fisherman's boat. He peeked under the wildflowers and searched beneath a bench, but he did not find it. They cooled their feet in the clear water of a tide pool. Jack picked up snails and starfish. He wanted to keep a crab, but he decided it should stay in nature, just like he had learned in school. At Little Beach, near the Marginal Way, Jack and his parents swam and jumped in the waves. They climbed on rocks and searched for sea glass, but they did not find the boat. In the distance, Jack spotted something, red in the seaweed. He ran to it, but found only a lobster claw. Maybe we'll find it next year, Jack said sadly. They walked to the bait wharf where the lobsterman was unloading crates of lobsters. Jack's father asked him if they had a good catch that day. Today was a very good day, he replied. I even caught a blue lobster, which I'll return to the ocean. It's a female and it will produce many baby lobsters. Jack had never seen anything like that before. So friends, that's real. There's real blue lobsters out in the ocean. Sometimes they catch them. They're very, very rare though. After eating ice cream cones from the lobster shack, Jack and his parents went for a ride on a boat called the Finest Kind. The captain winked and said to Jack, "Be sure to look for mermaids under the bridge." Jack did, and he thought he saw her. So this is the boat Miss Ludia works on, the Finest Kind. It goes out on lobstering trips. The boat sped up as it left the cove, and spray from the waves got Jack's face wet. They watched a lobsterman pull one of his traps from the ocean. He was in a pretty blue boat named Clover. "Hi, Billy Mac," the captain said. "Can we see your catch?" "A 5-pounder in this one," he replied. A fishing boat passed by on its way out to sea. Back in the cove, they walked over to the boatyard. Jack spied something red tangled up in rope and stuck between some rocks. Excited, he pulled and tugged. He tugged and pulled. It was old, it was battered, it was faded, but Jack was certain it was the boat in Nana's story. Jack let out a whoop that could be heard clear out to Boone Island. Fred Mayo, the harbor master, heard the commotion and came down the stairs of his office to see what was going on. Jack proudly held up the battered little boat. Fred's eyes opened wide in amazement. "I believe you found something that has been lost for many years." "Follow me," said Fred. He pointed to a big red boat surrounded by wildflowers and weeds and resting in a cradle in the corner of the boatyard. "This boat is the Crusher and hasn't been used for a very long time. The Crusher was the idea of an old fisherman who carved the boat you found," explained Fred. The only key we had was lost, and now the townsfolk worry every winter that the bridge will be taken out by the ice like it was so many years ago. Because remember, friends, the man who carved that wooden boat, he put his only key in the secret compartment. But then the boat was lost, so they lost the key too. Jack fiddled with the boat. He shook it this way and that, and he heard a rattling sound. He turned the boat over. He pried and pulled, and there, inside the boat, just like his Nana said, was the secret compartment, and inside the secret compartment was a key. Fred smiled as Jack held up the key. They boarded the Crusher together. "Go ahead, Jack. Put the key in and give it a try," Fred said. The boat spat, it sputtered, it clanked and chugged. And finally, after a few tries, it started. There would be no ice buildup in Perkins Cove this year, and the bridge would be safe. When Jack and his parents got back to Nana's house, Jack held up the boat and smiled. Nana cried and hugged him. "You found the boat, my grandfather's boat." This was Jack's best birthday ever. When Jack returned to Perkins Cove at Christmas time to visit, Fred told him how proud he was of the Crusher and gave him a brand new key. Jack carefully tucked it back inside the secret compartment that the fisherman, his great-great-grandfather, had carved with his very own hands so many years before. So that is the end of the story, but there's one more page. So this page talks about where the profits of this book went, because the author of this book sold it to people, around the community and online, and it says a percentage of the profits of the Pride of Perkins Cove will be donated to the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital at Maine Medical Center. So this is Barbara Bush, and this is her husband, George Bush. He was George Bush Sr. He was one of our presidents, and so she has a hospital named after her, the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital. I hope you keep your eyes peeled if you go down to Perkins Cove, see if you can find the Crusher. Thank you for listening, my friends. I hope you have a great day. Bye.